Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. It's Thursday, August 15th, 2019. In case you're listening to this in like 2040 and you're wondering who we are. My name is Morgan Colby.
Wow.
I got Rick Lemon, as always, right across from me. How you doing, Rick? You doing good?
Oh, I'm doing great.
You doing all right? Doing swell?
I got McDonald's once again.
Oh, my.
Should be every day. McDonald's.
Dude, in like 2 weeks.
I'm trying to be like Zeke, okay? Be like your idols.
In like 2 or 3 would be like your idols. That's the second time. And the second show in a row you've mentioned Ezekiel Elliott McDonald's.
I mean, when you think of Zeke, what's the next word that comes to mind?
Chick-fil-A or
it's like
Chipotle.
Nothing about his actual football abilities.
Week 2 of the preseason starts tonight. We're getting closer and closer to the NFL season. 3 weeks away. People, you're drafting. You're taking draft boards and you're putting them on the wall and you're picking and you're beating your butt, loser friends, because you listen to this show.
Yep.
I'm so excited for
you're gonna
soon. I'm so excited.
You're gonna listen to us. We're gonna be wrong about some things, and you're gonna be wrong about some things.
If you're one of those people's loser friends, we welcome you to the show.
Yes,
and,
we do. But you're gonna take a few things from the show, put it into your draft, beat your friends, and then boom. All of a sudden, you're not the loser friend anymore. You're the winner friend.
Like, so I fully expect like 17 negative reviews.
Yeah, we're gonna get like
start the show with that.
We're gonna do really good on some players, and then there's gonna be one guy.
There's gonna be like 20.
Like Phillip Lindsay's gonna be the number 2 running back in fantasy this year, and we're never gonna hear the end of it for the rest of our lives.
Yep, it's true. We're gonna get like 25. Like, oh, you helped me win a championship reviews, and then like 7 roasting reviews about how they lost the championship because they drafted. They didn't draft Phillip Lindsay.
Yeah. I didn't draft Eric Ebron, and he ended up having the best tight end season in NFL history.
It's true. The grind is beginning. Fantasy football's right around the corner. I already offered you. No, I didn't offer you anything. I mentioned a spicy situation that we could work through.
You did.
A couple days ago.
You did, yeah.
And you didn't sound too interested, so...
just because I have a feeling you're going to...
Screw you, because I always do that.
Well, not necessarily.
You're too smart for that.
Yeah.
I can't do that to you. There are plenty of people that I can get to do trades, but you are not one.
There's plenty of...
You're a more open negotiator, I'll say that.
There's plenty of people that you can just mess with and hurt their feelings and toy with in our league.
Oh, I cannot. Today we bring you our late round targets in draft.
All my friends, I love playing fantasy football with them because I can just take their mind and I can just bend it to the way I like it.
Oh, it's so funny. I was writing a trade tips article last week, and or 2 weeks ago or something like that, and I was dying laughing because I did all of the trade tips to people before, and I was remembering trades that I had like used these on.
Yeah.
People with, and the trades that I got out of it are just
you guys should check out our website, Fantasy Champions.
Yeah.
We do like to write articles, which are very useful.
Stuff like that.
And in that article that you wrote, I did see one of them was what was the last thing that you said? It was like, don't burn bridges. Right?
Oh, don't burn bridges, yeah.
I just laughed at that.
Yeah. Oh, because of me?
Yeah. For those of you who don't know.
Taking a new approach this year, right?
When you do play fantasy football with Morgan and you do decline his trade, he will typically, because he offered you 2 of his bench players for Todd Gurley and you said no, he will typically get very angry.
Okay, can I say something? I did offer a deal to get Todd Gurley last year.
You did.
I did, but I offered Zeke in the deal, so I feel like that's totally fair.
I wasn't saying that. Some people.
This is what I do. I offer unrealistic. Don't do this. I offer straight up unrealistic deals not bad deal, like really, really, really bad deals that like you won't accept.
The
I don't
person will
offer
never talk
those.
to you again.
I go up to the guy that I'm like, okay, this guy's there's no way he's ever gonna do a deal.
Okay,
with
so I
me.
go up to the
and I
weak
offer.
link.
I go up to the team that I know will never negotiate with me because
Okay.
they hate negotiating with me, and I say, bro, you know what? I like Todd Gurley. Can I have him for Zeke and Antonio Brown? Just to gauge their, and I get a no, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. That's when I get pissed and I start burning bridges. I offered you 2 top 5 players at the position, and you won't give me Gurley. He's like, no, I'm good.
Bro, just respect the man's wishes. He
Yeah.
clearly likes Todd Gurley. He wants Todd Gurley on his fantasy team no matter what.
Yeah, whatever. I don't play fantasy like that. Before we move into a quick question to start the show, be sure to do the following. Check out our website, like Rick just mentioned. Articles, content, materials, anything you want. And I will even put my draft board, my cheat sheet, on the website if y'all want it.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Twitter at the FF Champs. Instagram at the Fantasy Champions. Go to facebook.com/the Fantasy Champions and like us on Facebook. Come on, Facebook is still a thing.
Is it?
Do people use Facebook anymore?
I don't think
I feel
so.
like you should go over there and just like it for the sake of liking it.
I think you should too.
Subscribe wherever you listen: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube. Click the bell for notifications if you're on YouTube. Leave a comment if you're on YouTube as well. Leave a review. Share this podcast with your friends. Let's move into a quick question to start the show. What should you watch out for during preseason?
Injuries.
All right, here we go. Late round. Let's move
PEDs.
right into the next topic.
Okay, what should you watch for?
Yeah, like obviously yes, injuries, but like as you're watching a legit preseason game.
I don't look at this is what I do when I watch preseason. Typically, I usually watch preseason for a specific player.
Yep.
So if I'm watching a game, I'm looking for a specific player or specific like player battle or position battle.
Yep.
So I'm not really looking for how like what their stats are necessarily.
Right.
I'm looking at how they looked, how much they're used.
Yep.
Clearly, like how they're used in the offense, whether it's like passing game, if they're using them in running, like if it's a running back, for example, or a receiver where they're lining them up. If it's a quarterback, I'm looking for how he responds well to pressure, how like kind of just like scouting the player out. I'm not really looking to see if the guy goes 10 for 10 with 3 touchdowns. You know what I mean? I'm kind of just like looking at the player, looking at the situation, and seeing how they respond to certain things.
Yeah.
Kind of just seeing if they're good or not, essentially.
And the preseason stats are whack.
Yes, they are. Do not look at stats.
There are some preseason legends out there who I don't know because, it's not necessary to know who they are because it's preseason. Yeah, I agree. I think like last week, I watched the Browns just to see Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. I watched the Jets.
There was
just
no
to see Sam
reason.
Darnold.
I know what Baker Mayfield looks like. There's no reason for me to watch Baker Mayfield to scout him out. I just like watching Baker Mayfield. My guy, I got Madden 20, and my guy looks like Baker. I designed him to look like Baker Mayfield.
You got Madden 20?
I did.
Lit.
But I designed him to look like Baker Mayfield. Of
course you
I
did.
even got that. Like when I played Madden when I was a kid, like Madden like
Oh,
09, I was gonna
remember-
say 10. Madden 09 or
Remember,
Madden 10. I would play those games
yeah.
and I'd build my character, right? This is when they had the good character mode, or good what is it, superstar mode? And
Yeah,
I would
where
put
you had your own
I would be a
apartment.
quarterback, and I'd put a visor on.
Yes, I
I would
too.
be like, no NFL quarterback wears a visor. I'm like, is that stupid? So, and then Baker Mayfield comes in the NFL, and he's literally living my dream for
Weird.
NFL.
kind of
apparel.
short, but still tall enough.
Where's the visor?
Where's the visor?
He's got the arm sleeves.
It's everything you want to be.
everything I wanted to be.
Yeah.
I love Baker Mayfield. What was I even talking about before? Started talking about
Podcast,
Baker.
dude.
Yeah, podcast. What to watch for in preseason
Yes.
games? So yes, injuries are obviously a key thing. I agree with 100% with what you said. It's more or less to scout out the particular players that, like, if you have questions on a guy or you have questions about a running back situation.
Yeah.
Watch the preseason to see, okay, I like, the guy we'll talk about today. I like Devin Singletary. Was Devin Singletary good in the game that he played?
Was he?
Not very. Not very. But, are they talented enough to play in the NFL? Do they like does the film from college match up with what you're seeing in the preseason? Quarterbacks especially experience this. A quarterback can have a good preseason and not work out, but a quarterback that doesn't work out in the preseason will not work out in the NFL. There's, people probably comment on Twitter and be like, "Yeah, you're an idiot."
Typically, yeah, if you do have
but like quarterbacks,
not always.
If quarterbacks crap themselves in the preseason,
it's tough.
Chances are they're not going to succeed just because they don't have the mental stability or the mental strength to handle the NFL. So generally fantasy football people aren't looking to draft rookie quarterbacks unless you're looking at like Kyler Murray, a guy who can run the football. I would say you're looking at mostly running backs and wide receivers, and for me, like the only rookie position that I draft is wide receiver at this point. Running back.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I was watching a lot of rookie running backs and how they were reacting to the game, and I don't even think Josh Jacobs played this week. I didn't see anything on him, but
yeah, I didn't.
But just watching how they actually play, perform, and seeing if they're draftable. Are they living up to expectation? Are they living up to the camp hype? The training camp hype, the reports that you see on Roto World, the incessant Miles Sanders is better than Jordan Howard. You know what I mean? Like is that lining up with what's actually happening? The one set of games that I like to watch are the dress rehearsal games, week 3.
Yes.
Some teams it's different based on the situation. But
most times it's week 3.
They play like 2 or 3 quarters, and you get to see the offense like perform. You see them go out and like this is how they're going to run their offense for the regular season. So that's a good game to watch how Phillip Lindsay and Royce Freeman are utilized. People just bypass the preseason like it's nonsense. Like there are some things you can pull from it.
There's a lot of nonsense, but there are a few things that
it's just better. I like watching the games themselves to see two teams play each other to see if that guy actually can beat NFL talent than seeing freaking highlights from a training camp practice.
I would rather. That is true. That's a good
7-on-7 drills from some beat reporter who has no life. Like I'm all set with that.
Dude, I wish I was a beat reporter with no life. Are you kidding me?
He's like, yeah. So that's kind of the way that I look at watching preseason games. They're not fun. It's not like it's like I spent the weekend watching all of the games from Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And it was like watching freaking paint dry. I'll tell you.
Oh no, I know. That's why
it's so boring. Like after you get the good players out of the way, and you had to wait for like.
That's why I didn't even bother
Miles Sanders to come into the game, and I was like,
I just picked and I watched the Jets' offensive possessions, their first one of the game with Sam Darnold. I watched the Browns one. I kind of picked and chose my spots.
Yeah, right.
Week 3 is going to be different with the preseason. I'm going to try to watch as much as I can with that.
Right. It's just difficult.
It is tough to watch every single one, especially
when there's no implication whatsoever to anything. But that's what I'll do. That's your quick question for the day. Let's move into our late round players to target for 2019. Hitting on these players, it gives you a huge advantage in fantasy football. I think a lot of people, like I said earlier in the show, a lot of people bypass these picks as
yeah,
I'm not worried about it.
Oh my gosh, you're right. You're 100% right.
And a lot of teams don't. You last year are a great example of that. You had a good first 2 rounds, which most people do.
Yeah.
You got Julio. You got Saquon. You got your 1 and your 2. 4th round. Third round? Jerick McKinnon.
Yes.
4th round.
I think it was T.Y. Hilton.
T.Y. Hilton. 5th round.
Jimmy Graham,
something like that. And then but then
Allen Robinson.
When you got to the 9th round, you took Mahomes, and then the 10th round and the 11th, and
I took Nick Chubb late too. And I took
you had a
late in the draft because he was falling down.
Yeah, you had a successful late round draft last year. Even though you didn't keep any of those guys.
No. Well, I kept Sony for... I traded Sony. Nick Chubb was the only guy that I really didn't keep. Yeah. I just cut.
But drafting late is very important because if you screw up late... I find drafting late extremely important just because I get guys that are valuable. Whether I like them or not is...
That's a different conversation.
Yeah, it's a different conversation. But get guys that are valuable. For me... 8th, 9th, 10th round, fill the quarterback spot. Fill the tight end spot. but the rest should be BPA, best player available value picks.
Mm-hmm.
You get those guys, and then what do? You start negotiating deals. You start throwing these average, late round players out who may have a couple good weeks, and you're starting to sell them, and other teams are buying. And then you end up with Odell Beckham.
You can either do that, or you can look for guys that have breakout potential.
Right.
Guys that are getting drafted late in the rounds because they're not expected to start, or there's somebody ahead of them,
or they're injury
prone, or they're young, or one of these things.
Yeah.
But have a very high ceiling.
Right.
Kind of like a Patrick Mahomes from last year.
Right.
Or like maybe Josh Allen this year's somebody that everybody's been talking about for quarterbacks.
Right.
But just somebody like that you can draft late in the rounds, that if they stink, who cares? You cut them. But if they're good, it changes the whole dynamic of your team.
Right. Mid to late round portions of the draft are so important. Let's get into it. This is 10 round or later, just to give you a little facts. Mm-hmm. So these are guys that are getting drafted round 10 or later. Don't complain if a 9th or 8th round pick are not on this list. Now, why didn't you put them on the list? It's round 10 or later.
Yes, according to Fantasy Calculator as of
Fantasy
today.
Football Calculator, yes. So number 1 on our late round targets list is Devin Singletary, rookie running back from the Buffalo Bills. Now, this was a hard one for me because I feel like I always say this one was a hard one for me.
You do.
And I
mean, that is kind of good. That means it's a good topic,
I guess. So Devin Singletary has been a player that I coming out of college, I think I had him third on my my college, not college football, but my NFL draft rankings.
Okay.
I liked him as David Montgomery was my second guy, Josh Jacobs was my first, Devin Singletary is like my third guy. I watched a lot of film on Singletary, and he had a really bad what is it? A combine?
Combine, yes.
His workout metrics were not that great. But he was drafted in the 3rd round, 10th pick by the Buffalo Bills. I really did like him coming in. The hard part is that you have Yeldon, you have LaShawn McCoy, and so you had some valuable pieces, I guess, to that Bills running game. LaShawn McCoy was expected to be the guy, right? And then you had TJ Yeldon, who was expected to be the 2. Right now, Yeldon's on the bubble. Like, people are wondering if TJ Yeldon's going to make the team. So that leaves the number 2 spot open for Devin Singletary.
Right.
And there have been rumors floating around, just little birds tweeting on Twitter, that LaShawn McCoy could be cut or traded before the season starts. If that does happen, Devin Singletary becomes the number 1 running back on that team. I also see a situation that LaShawn McCoy, because you also have Frank Gore there too. You have to take that into account.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, Frank
Dolphins 2.0.
Yeah, they're not as stupid as Adam Gase, and they're the Bills too, so that's saying a lot. But they have been like even they're not sure if they want Frank Gore to be that guy. Frank Gore is coming into that situation, and he had he played 2 quarters of the first preseason game. It doesn't usually happen for a guy that you expect to make the team. So for me, Devin Singletary is the one guy that becomes the constant. He did play a lot in that first preseason game because he's a rookie. He didn't look great, you know what I mean. He was mediocre, but I mean, it's preseason. But the reports surrounding Singletary have been relatively good. He's getting a lot of first-team opportunities, according to The Athletic. So we'll see. I mean, there has been multiple reports. The ESPN is also reporting that he's received, quote, a ton of first-team reps.
Yeah.
So
he's one of the perfect, as you just said, we'll see guys.
Yeah.
Kind of what I was talking about earlier with drafting late-round guys.
Right.
Because he can easily be a bust. And LaShawn McCoy and Frank Gore can easily take over the role, and the Bills' run game stinks overall, and he doesn't get any opportunities and all that stuff. Right. But there's also a very good chance that Frank Gore gets cut or doesn't really play. Right. TJ Yeldon gets cut or doesn't really play.
Right.
LaShawn McCoy loses the job or gets traded or whatever, and Singletary becomes the guy. And he could be, honestly, if they give him the opportunity, he could be like a workhorse back in that offense.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they could be giving him a ton of carries if they want to.
Right.
And even honestly, even if McCoy is still LaShawn McCoy and takes the job back, he's a very injury-prone running back.
Yeah.
So chances are he's going to get hurt sometime during the season. And when that happens, can Singletary take the spot? I think it's worth a late-round look for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you snag him late and he turns into something, you're going to look like a gosh darn genius.
Yes.
And then tell your friends exactly who told you to draft Devin Singletary late. The Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Shameless plug. Let's move on to number 2 on our list, Ronald Jones.
Ooh, I love Ronald Jones.
This is your man's. So I'm gonna let you talk about your man's.
Yes.
And I'll give you my mad.
You
facts
like Ronald Jones though too.
I love Jones.
So let's see. Let's see. Why do I love Ronald Jones? Well, for one,
he was such trash last year.
He was okay.
He was hot garbage.
Like when I watched Ronald Jones play last year, he was not good. But neither was Peyton Barber. So
he had 44 rush attempts last year over 9 games. He had 1.9 yards per carry.
Oh,
I think that was more system.
Yikes.
I think that was more system.
That was very bad. But yes, the system was not meant for running backs last year. Ask that to any Tampa Bay Buccaneer wide receiver playing last year. It was meant to throw the ball 50 times and do whatever they want. New coaching staff. Look, Ronald Jones to me has breakout potential, which is what you want to draft late in the rounds. Tampa Bay, as of right now, it's between him and Peyton Barber as the starting back. I think Ronald Jones
much
is better.
to get through.
Right. Not much to get through. I think Ronald Jones is better than Peyton Barber. I think the team thinks he's better than Peyton Barber, especially in the long run. Maybe short term, like maybe to start the year, they're kind of splitting carries. Maybe even Peyton Barber gets more. But I think over the course of the year, Ronald Jones will be the starter on that team. He was, let me pull it up. I want to say he was a first-round pick, maybe second-round pick. He was a very early second-round pick. So they do believe in him. And if you invest that early in a guy, you do want to eventually move to him. I think it's similar with Rashad Penny in Seattle. But yeah, Ronald Jones, I think he will have the opportunity.
Especially because Peyton Barber sucks too. Peyton Barber's bad. Like
he does. He's not good.
The running game for Tampa was so bad last year.
It was
3.7 yards per carry, 871 yards.
But watch him play though.
He had 92 receiving yards.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah, that's.
But Tampa, I think we both agree, is probably going to run the ball more this year.
Hashtag meh.
And I think it's going to be Ronald Jones. So I think he's going to get all the opportunity in the world, which is something we look for in fantasy and especially in late rounds. It's just a matter for Ronald Jones. It's going to just be, is he good enough? And it's the offensive line good enough for him to be a legit back? I don't know if that's the case, but it's definitely worth a shot taking at the end of the rounds when he can be if everything works out, and he gets all the opportunity, he could definitely be an RB2.
The reason why I think it's Tampa's offense, too, as a side note, the reason why Peyton Barber and Ronald Jones sucked was because it was the offense as a whole. If you have one running back that sucks, you just have one running back that sucks. If you have two running backs that are egregious, then you have two running backs that are egregious. What do you go to? That's the system. And so I think that the system that they were running, it just isn't good. Like I gave you the numbers about Dirk Cutter and how he is always last in rushing attempts. He's always at the bottom of the league in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns. Like his teams are always at the bottom of the league in rushing yards per carry. Like he's not a good coach when it comes to running the football. You know who is though? The guy who brought up David Johnson into his prime.
And who was that?
Bruce Arians.
And who does he coach?
Oh, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, hey. Peyton Barber is an old man. I don't think he's a good running back. I think Ronald Jones is talented. If you had to choose a running back to be in Bruce Arians' system and be similar to David Johnson, who would you choose? Ronald Jones. Ronald Jones can pass catch. Ronald Jones can run on the ground. Ronald Jones can do the things that. No, I'm not going to say he's as talented as David Johnson. David Johnson's a next level guy that is, when he's on, he's a top 3 back. But for me, when I look at Ronald Jones in the Bruce Arians system, if they utilize him anywhere near what David Johnson was usually utilized like when he was coaching the Arizona Cardinals, you're going to have a team in a situation where Ronald Jones is like a 13th, 14th, 15th round draft pick, or is he 11th?
Ronald Jones?
Yeah.
Yes.
As an 11th round draft pick, you can grab Ronald Jones and possibly have a guy.
At that point, you've probably already have most of your team set, though. So
and I would just watch the preseason games, watch how they do. Basically, at this point right now, did you just like make noise over there?
I had a notification. I apologize.
But the reports coming out of Tampa are that Peyton Barber has that job. It's his to lose. Mm-hmm. And they're also saying that Bruce Arians has basically said that he expects a, quote, good battle, unquote, between Ronald Jones and Peyton Barber to be the team's starting running back. He also noted that both players are going to get touches this year, whoever wins the one job. So I think it's going to be Ronald Jones. I don't know. There's just a part of my soul. Like, it's not a lot to get through Peyton Barber.
I mean, again, though,
it makes me so frustrated when coaches draft guys, and I'm not in the coach's room. I'm not in the meeting rooms. I'm not watching practices every day for Ronald Jones, and seeing how they play. So obviously you got to take that into account.
He did have 1.9 yards per carry.
Yeah, that's true. I don't understand why you can see a talented player and understand, like, Jordan Howard absolutely blows. Let's start Miles Sanders. No, it's not that easy for people to understand. They have to see Jordan Howard blow before they play Miles Sanders. It's absolutely. They had the Browns last year had to sit there for half a season and realize Carlos Hyde's not good at football.
Well, I want to go that far.
You know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
Before they said, okay, we're going to take our first round running back and start him. Like, it astounds me that it takes that much for these people.
You keep calling Peyton Barber an old man. He's only 25.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware.
It just goes with your
I've been corrected on that. It just goes with my take. I look at his picture and I'm like, man, this guy looks like he's 30 years old.
I mean, Ronald Jones, he could definitely like fade out, and Peyton Barber could be the guy, and then they have the same years they did last year. Like, that's very possible. But it's also very possible for Tampa to go with Ronald Jones over Peyton Barber as the young guy.
Right.
They invested in
the second round pick.
Yeah. Right. And then they run the ball more
in a good
this
running
year.
back class too.
Right. And they decide to run the ball not like crazy a lot more, but just a little bit more than they did last year, which I think is reasonable considering how much they threw the ball last year.
Yeah, I agree. I think Ronald Jones is a guy, like, as at his value and at his late round target, like, he's a guy that I'm targeting. Like, he's a guy that I've been looking at, even if he's in the. I've been having trouble because in some drafts he's been going in the 9th, and I don't know if that's too high. But then I look at guys like Latavius Murray or Ronald Jones.
Ronald Jones
over Latavius Murray,
even
if Latavius Murray has the Mark Ingram role in New Orleans.
I don't think he's going to, but if he did, maybe Latavius Murray.
Okay, because those guys have been going in the 9th round. I've seen Ronald Jones go in the 9th round in the law draft. Peyton Barber too. So I think
you know why
at this point it's kind of like the Jameson. I mean, it's kind of like the James Washington, Donta Moncrief situation that we talked about on our previous show. Like, let's just put a freaking dartboard up and throw a dart, and whoever it hits is the guy.
I would probably just say
I'm going to take a calculated risk on Ronald Jones.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
over
kinda,
Peyton Barber, because I just don't like Peyton Barber.
Yeah. I'd probably just take Ronald Jones there, like when you ask me with the Latavius Murray, just because one I think has a higher chance of starting than the other eventually. One has a higher ceiling than the other. And I think if you're drafting late in drafts, that's kind of what you're looking for.
Definitely.
But, I mean, the Mark Ingram point was a good point, so.
Let's move to number 3, Jamison Crowder. You are dropping everything over there, boss.
I'm terribly sorry. I'm getting notifications dropping my phone. You know why?
Why?
Because I'm just so excited to watch the Jets play this year.
It's
funny. I'm a Patriots fan that loves the Jets. Is that weird?
Yeah, that's not right.
That's
like saying,
probably somewhere.
That's close to saying I'm a Red Sox fan that likes to watch the Yankees.
But it's kind of like. I mean, if you're a Jets fan listening to this, don't take this the wrong way, but it's like cute. It's so cute to watch the Jets. I know that's.
Let's stop with the Patriots' arrogance for 1 second. But we're literally going to be Dallas Cowboy fans in like 5 years, right?
I've always
hoping
that's
that
true.
we can win a championship. In 10
Oh, I
years,
know.
we're going to be like,
Oh my
remember those
gosh.
days with Tom Brady?
We're gonna be
so
like,
amazing.
Patriots are the greatest of all time.
Well,
We're
the
best,
Jets,
and we haven't won a
and
Super
Sam
Bowl.
Darnold are on like their 4th straight Super Bowl.
Right. No, yeah, so don't take it the wrong way, but it's just kind of like the Jets have been bad, and now it's like a promising type situation coming up.
The reason
so
why
I'm
he's
very
talking about the
excited.
Jets is because Jamison Crowder.
Jamison
Crowder's
So,
our wide receiver.
If you
This
know
was
me-
not a transition. I believe I said Jamison Crowder's name. That's why he's talking about the Jets.
Yes, you did. That's why I brought it up.
Okay.
So,
I'm sorry.
anyway, I do want to watch the Jets this year. I'm very excited. Anybody who knows me loves.
This show is off the rails today. I'll
It
tell
is,
you.
but it's lit. Anyone who knows me knows before the draft, Sam Darnold. I love Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
He got drafted by the Jets. I thought it was a good situation for him. So if you're like me and you believe in Sam Darnold and you believe in the direction that the Jets are going in, other than Adam Gase, I'm not sure about that one. But overall,
Yeah, that's another bad.
then you should like Jamison Crowder this year.
Yeah, no, I agree.
He's going.
And to Adam Gase's credit, he's good at coaching an offense.
He is. I'm not like.
He's an idiot.
I'm not.
For fantasy football purposes when
I'm
it
not
comes
gonna
to running
I'm not gonna
backs.
call him an idiot or anything like that. But
No, you didn't let me finish. He's an idiot when it comes to running backs.
so you don't like Le'Veon Bell then?
And yeah, I've said that before.
Anyway, I do like the direction the Jets are going in.
Yeah.
I like, as you said, Adam Gase.
It is cute.
Isn't it? Wasn't that a good analogy? Anyway, Jamison Crowder, I think, fits well in that
No, he
system.
does.
He can be a security blanket for Sam Darnold, who I think will take the next step. And if you think Sam Darnold will take the next step, it's a safe assumption to assume that the whole wide receiver core will also take a next step fantasy-wise. And if that is the case, that includes Jamison Crowder, who I think will probably be maybe even the WR1. I think Robbie Anderson probably will be, but if not, he's a very close WR2 that will be used a lot. I think he'll get a lot of receptions this year. If you're playing full PPR, I'm taking Jamison Crowder in every draft I'm in.
Jamison Crowder is supposed to play the slot this year.
He is. He's a perfect slot guy. That's where he was in Washington.
So a lot of people believe that Jamison Crowder can creep near or past 100 catches this year.
Yeah.
I'm going to read this.
I'm one of those people.
I'm going to read this little paragraph from The Athletic about Jamison Crowder. Sam Darnold has been targeting Crowder heavily during practices, and we saw that translate into the Jets' preseason opener when he caught 2 passes with a touchdown on the opening drive. It will be tough for Crowder to actually approach 100 receptions with Le'Veon Bell, Robbie Anderson, and Chris Herndon in the mix, but Darnold's connection with his slot receiver appears to be real. The Jets' passing game options including Crowder, are cheap in fantasy drafts. So basically what he's saying is Jamison Crowder, Robbie Anderson, not Le'Veon Bell, and Chris Herndon those 3 targets are very much available. Mm-hmm. I don't like Chris Herndon. He's on a 4-game suspension. But I do like Robbie Anderson, and I do like Jamison Crowder. Both of them are going later in drafts. Now, Jamison Crowder, dude, if he reaches 90 receptions next year, he's well worth it.
And this is a guy, he's not even getting drafted in a lot of leagues.
No.
That to me is what I really like about him. If Jamison Crowder is getting hyped right now, draft Jamison Crowder in the 8th round, he's going to be legit. I would be like, okay, let's relax.
Right.
But half PPR, which is still in the middle between standard and full PPR.
This is not a conventional take.
He's
either.
getting
not a lot of people are going to agree with this one.
I know, but he's getting drafted 15th round in half PPR.
Right.
To me, he should be going a lot higher.
If he's their undisputed slot receiver, he should be going higher.
Mm-hmm. And this is again, it also if you don't believe in Sam Darnold and you think the Jets still stink and are gonna have a terrible year, then I understand why you wouldn't.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are on my side with this and do think Sam Darnold is legit and think the Jets are going in a good direction. If you're with me on that, you should draft Jamison Crowder. Mm-hmm. Not saying to draft him high or anything like that, but if he's there, 13th round,
right,
half PPR, full PPR, I'm taking him immediately.
Yeah, I mean, he was, and when he plays, 15, 16 games, he's generally efficient, 1.65, 1.7 fantasy points per target in a full PPR setting. His player comp is Cole Beasley, so he is a perfect wide receiver slot. Not a wide receiver one. I was going to say wide receiver one. A good slot receiver that's getting completely undrafted. And so I would take an absolute flyer. Now I'm over here freaking blowing up notifications.
This show is crazy, dude.
But anyway, so I would definitely take a flyer on Jamison Crowder if I'm in the 15th, or if you're in a deeper league in the 16th or 17th round. I would totally take a flyer. So I'm on board with Jamison Crowder.
I'm trying to look for his PPR.
Looks like you need
ADP.
some glasses, Grandpa.
I do, actually. I can't find
He's
it.
like squinting. What are you looking for?
His full PPR. His PPR ADP is 14th round. Full PPR.
Wow.
That is shocking to me.
I think a lot of people
get like 70 catches.
See, now I can justifiably bypass the Josh Allen Bills wide receiver core, and I could justifiably bypass the Washington Redskins wide receiver core. We name the number one receiver in Washington right now.
Oh boy, Dwayne Haskins, Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, I was gonna say Trey McLaurin. I don't even know if that's his real name. I'm not sure his first name's Trey, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's funny. I was gonna say Terrell Pryor, but he hasn't been a Redskins for like 2 years.
So I mean, there are wide receiver cores that I would avoid just because you have no idea who's going to be the guy. You know, Miami is probably one of those wide receiver cores where maybe I take I would look at Albert Wilson as the only wide receiver. Like Devontae Parker off my board, Kenny Stills I'm not even looking at, and Albert Wilson's the guy. He returned in our league, our personal league. We reward I believe it's fantasy points for every 25 yards for kick returns and punt returns, and 6 points for touchdowns scored on kick returns and punt returns. So he's valuable in that asset because that's where he was utilized last year. But I think Albert Wilson's going to be a good wide receiver. But I think if you're talking about a team, all these bad teams I just mentioned, the Dolphins, the Redskins, what is the common problem with all those teams? They don't have a quarterback that can successfully throw the foot. Sam Darnold is the most talented, best quarterback among those teams. And I think a lot of people are bypassing the fact they're looking at the Jets and going, the Jets suck. They do suck. But Sam Darnold doesn't suck. Their offensive line doesn't suck. Le'Veon Bell's going to make that offense better.
Yeah, their defense is good, which will give their offense more opportunities. Do you think that's going
to open up opportunities for Jamison Crowder?
Should.
So I think Jamison Crowder is a great guy to look at later in drafts. Let's move on to the next guy, Corey Davis. This is your man's. You love Corey Davis. I'm not as high on Corey Davis as you, but I will take him.
Talk about being high on Corey Davis.
This is Marcus Mariota looked a lot better in the preseason game than he did in the regular season.
Big shock.
Yeah, big shock. If he does lose his job to Ryan Tannehill, does this increase Corey Davis's value to you?
I wouldn't say it increases it or decreases it.
Okay.
Because what I've looked at in the past with Corey Davis, mostly last year, when Marcus Mariota wasn't on the field, it went to Blaine Gabbert. And I've been saying this on the podcast and to you off the podcast of reasons why I like Corey Davis. And this reason has come up a lot. But when Marcus Mariota was injured, or they took him off the field for a specific reason, it was Blaine Gabbert that would come in. And Corey Davis struggled. The whole offense struggled because, no offense to Blaine Gabbert, but Blaine Gabbert. You know what I mean?
Don't roast Blaine Gabbert, bro.
I'm sorry, but you said Carlos Hyde wasn't a good football player earlier. So anyway.
Yeah.
For me, now with Ryan Tannehill on the team, if you take Marcus Mariota out, which he probably will, he'll probably get hurt, something will come up, and you put Ryan Tannehill in, it's an even to me. Maybe in some situations it is a positive.
Yeah.
But it's not going to go down. With last year with Blaine Gabbert, his value just completely disappeared when Blaine Gabbert came in, which Blaine Gabbert played half the season. So that essentially took away Corey Davis for half the season.
I think the other thing that people don't remember with Corey Davis too, because he's this guy that there are truthers like you who hold on hope that he's going to be good. And then, a lot of people right now are fading him. They're running away from Corey Davis and being like, no, we don't want anything to do with this guy. He was a 5th overall pick.
He was.
And, He's 24 years old. He was a 5th overall selection in a draft. And he's really freaking good at wide receiver.
He's fantastic. He's really...
His one problem is his quarterback.
Yeah.
Like wide receivers, so for running backs, right? Saquon Barkley can go out and absolutely control his own destiny. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He runs the football. Like his touches are his touches. Quarterbacks choose to where they throw the football. So wide receivers don't control their touches. They don't have that opportunity to be like, okay, you know what, this is what's going on. They have to be thrown the football in order to have any chance in fantasy to succeed. And when you don't have a good quarterback, that generally lends. Like, name a very good wide receiver in this league that doesn't have a good quarterback to go along with it. Top 5 wide receiver.
You can't.
Adams has a good quarterback. DeAndre Hopkins has a good quarterback. Julio Jones has a good quarterback. Juju Smith-Schuster has a good quarterback. Odell Beckham has a good quarterback. Michael Thomas has a good quarterback. Tyreek Hill has a good quarterback.
We're going to see with Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown.
And even Derek Carr is better than Blaine Gabbert and probably Ryan Tannehill and Marcus Mariota.
But like when you go down your top 10, top 15, even the top 20 maybe of your wide receivers, it's hard to have a good quarterback. Yeah. So the connection between Mariota and Corey Davis is important, and the fact that it hasn't developed yet is concerning. Now, he's in his third year breakout. Who knows? I agree with you. I like Corey Davis. I will draft Corey Davis in all my drafts if I have the opportunity. But I just don't. I'm drafting him knowing that there's a real good shot that he's probably not going to work out.
Yeah. I don't know if the connection isn't there with Mariota and Davis, because when Mariota does throw the ball successfully, it usually is to Corey Davis. Like, I feel like they do have a solid connection. It's just Mariota has been not that good the last 2 seasons and injured.
See, a lot of people look at Corey Davis, and I think a lot of fantasy football players in general. Mm-hmm. If you're crazy and you spend $50,000 on, drafts and best ball and all that daily fantasy and all that crap. If you spend a ton of money on that, you'll watch every game. But a lot of people who pay $100 to get into their friends league aren't really watching Corey Davis on a weekly basis unless they have them. So I think a lot of people are fading on Corey Davis. You go and watch clips of Corey Davis play in the NFL. His catch radius is insane.
Oh yeah, no, I mean,
what he can do with where, like, he's just very talented.
There's no denying his ability at wide receiver.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of can he get the ball?
Can he get the ball?
But I think, like, they added Adam Humphries this year, which I think is a
6 out of 8 plays too. I forgot to say that on our previous show. 6 out of 8 targets went to Adam Humphries on the first drive.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck?
I think that actually helps Corey Davis.
Yeah.
Because last
opens
season,
up the field a little bit.
On offense, anytime it was a passing situation, the entire defense focused on Corey Davis.
Yeah.
Like, there was no concerns about anybody else. Now,
Right.
Delaney Walker's back, fully healthy. You got Adam Humphries they just signed.
Yep.
I think that additional help. And didn't they draft somebody too? I want to say Tennessee.
A.J. Brown.
They did. They drafted A.J. Brown.
Yes.
Isn't he hurt though?
He's like the 3rd or 4th string wide receiver, and he's kind of hurt, yeah.
But when he is healthy, he will also add to the offense.
I know what you're saying.
So it kind of allows...
And they want to utilize Derrick Henry, and if Derrick Henry's any form of a success this year, then they'll look at him and say, okay, you know what, we need to cover this guy too.
Yeah, and the 3rd year sort of leap is legitimate too. And I did see something with Pro Football Focus that Corey Davis faced off against a top 25 cornerback, I think. Mm-hmm. Like, what was it? It was like 40% or 4% of his targets or something like that. It was 40. So I'm pulling it up right now. It was 43% of his targets. You know where that ranked in the league?
Where?
Number 1.
So he's facing the best.
So he faced the best competition out of anybody in the league.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen this year.
Take Corey Davis. Do it.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah. Number 5 on our list, and the final guy, Matt Breida. Love Matt Breida.
Matt Breida.
So Matt Breida last year, I believe he was a mid-range RB2.
He was.
He got injured late in the season. I think he might have been able to eclipse the high-end RB2, maybe even our low-end RB1 with the way he was running. For some reason, Kyle Shanahan. Now, in Kyle Shanahan's system, there's going to be good running backs. Devonta Freeman, he had Tevin Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
And so now he's with the 49ers. His running back Jerick McKinnon is constantly getting hurt.
Yeah.
Everybody that they brought in that made me nervous about the 49ers backfield has gotten
It's funny how
toasted.
2 months ago we were saying
stay away from the 49ers, and now it's like draft Tevin Coleman now. So for me, like, the value of Tevin Coleman has increased, but I think a lot of people are bypassing the Matt Breida situation.
Mm-hmm.
I think as much as people are going, oh, Tevin Coleman, he's okay. You know, I mean, he wasn't good in the system last year he was decent.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people are bypassing Matt Breida and thinking, oh, well, you know what? Jerick McKinnon is going to be there and everyone else is going to be there, and he's not going to get the work. Well, now he's the number 2 running back. There's a good chance he could overtake Tevin Coleman. I don't think he will, but there's a good chance that like, he was good enough last year to produce, and I think that he can come in and do that. It's just whether injury creeps in again like it did last year. So I absolutely love Matt Breida. I think he's a great value late. Like, he's basically free at this point.
Yeah, he's getting undrafted in some leagues I've done, and especially full PPR. If you're playing in a full PPR league, I'm looking at Matt Breida.
Because Tevin Coleman's not an excellent
No,
passer.
they're not going to use him at all in the passing game. And Matt Breida, to me, if you just take him in a full PPR situation, he could be, like, very underrated.
Yeah.
Legitimately underrated. One of these guys that you take in the 15th, 14th round and ends up being a James White type player.
Yep.
So,
yeah, definitely James White.
Yeah, I would definitely take a look at Matt Breida.
Yeah, definitely. That'll do it for our late round targets. That's it. That's our list. Be sure to listen next week as we discuss players to avoid officially on the podcast. We've released articles, YouTube videos. We're going to go on this podcast and officialize our avoid players for this season. Be sure to listen to that next week. Got any closing thoughts for us, boss?
Dude, you know I've noticed we haven't talked about Patrick Mahomes on this podcast in a while.
Oh, it's great. I felt
great.
freed.
I
don't worry. Plenty of
talk about Patrick.
Plenty
Mahomes.
of Mahomes talk will happen during the regular season.
I thought you were gonna say next week when we were talking about guys to stay away from, and I was gonna. Yeah, I was raising my eyes at you.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, hey, at his value, stay away. You don't agree with that at all, do you?
I'm leaving.
Okay. Don't forget to check out our website at thefantasychampions.com. Lots of content on there, rankings, everything. Check it out. See you Tuesday. Fantasy Champs.
Peace out.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube and follow us on Twitter at TheFFChamps.